All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about something that seems so basic we barely even think about it: how our kids breathe. But what if I told you that the simple act of breathing, along with their posture and what they eat, is literally sculpting their face and setting the stage for their health for the rest of their lives? It's a huge deal, so let's connect some dots.
Does any of this sound familiar to you? Maybe you hear your kids snoring down the hall, or the dentist mentions they're grinding their teeth down. Or maybe you're just looking at a future full of orthodontist bills for crooked teeth. You know, we tend to see these as totally separate problems, but what if they're not? What if they're all just symptoms of the same root cause?
The thing is, this stuff is so common now that we think it's normal, but it's not. We're seeing an explosion of crowded teeth, snoring, kids who are tired all the time, even behavioral issues that look a lot like ADHD. It all points back to a modern epidemic of faces and jaws that just aren't developing properly. It can even lead to something called an adenoid face, where the face grows long and narrow because of constant mouth breathing. This isn't about pointing fingers. It's about realizing our world has changed, and it's changing our kids.
This quote from Roger Price just hits the nail on the head. We've always thought the problem was too many teeth crammed into a normal-sized mouth. But he flips that on its head. The real issue is that our kids' mouths, their jaws, are too small for the teeth they were always meant to have. It's a real estate problem, not a teeth problem. So what's supposed to happen? How is a face meant to grow?
Well, our bodies have this incredible, ancient blueprint for growth. And when all the right ingredients are there, the face and jaws grow forward and wide. This creates plenty of room for all the teeth to come in straight and, most importantly, it creates a big, wide-open airway. Let's look at what drives that healthy growth.
It really comes down to three things. They're non-negotiable. First, your kid has to be breathing through their nose, period, day and night. Second, their tongue needs to live on the roof of their mouth, sealed up there. And third, they need to eat foods that actually require some serious chewing to get those jawbones growing. And that brings me to this quote.
Just think about this for a second. The most important orthodontic appliance your child will ever have is their own tongue. When it's resting up on the palate, it provides this gentle, constant pressure that literally shapes the upper jaw, pushing it to grow wide and forward. It's nature's perfect pellet expander. So what happens when that system goes offline?
Well, when those three pillars, nasal breathing, tongue posture, and chewing, are missing, it's like knocking over the first domino. It sets off this whole cascade of negative consequences that fundamentally changes how your child develops.
Here's how that vicious cycle works. It might start with something as simple as allergies or big tonsils that block the nose. So the child starts breathing through their mouth to survive. When they do that, the tongue has to drop down low. Without the tongue up there supporting the upper jaw, the palate grows narrow and high. This actually shrinks the size of their nasal passages and their airway, locking them into this cycle and leading straight to sleep-disordered breathing, everything from snoring to sleep apnea. And our modern diet is a huge accomplice in all of this. I mean, think about it. Applesauce pouches, smoothies, soft processed foods, they're robbing our kids of the critical job of chewing. Without that mechanical stress from chewing tough foods, the jawbones just don't get the message that they need to grow strong and wide.
Okay, let's geek out on the science for a minute, because this is so important. Breathing through your nose isn't just a nice idea, it is a biological requirement. The way your body uses air that comes through the nose is completely different and way better than what happens when you're a mouth breather.
The difference is night and day, seriously. Your nose is this amazing little air conditioning and filtration plant. It cleans the air, warms it up, and moisturizes it. But its secret weapon is nitric oxide. This gas is made in your sinuses, and it helps sterilize the air while also opening up your blood vessels so your lungs can absorb way more oxygen. Mouth breathing, it just bypasses that whole system, dumping cold, dirty, dry air right onto the tonsils and putting your body in a constant state of low-grade stress.
So we all know we need oxygen. That's a given. But just getting it into your lungs isn't the end of the story. There's another gas that plays the starring role in actually getting that oxygen out of your blood and into your cells, your tissues, and your brain. Any guesses what it is?
The answer, and this might surprise you, is carbon dioxide. Yeah, CO2. We've been taught to think of it as just a waste product we need to get rid of, but it's actually the key that unlocks oxygen from your red blood cells. It's called the Bohr effect. When you mouth breathe, you blow off way too much CO2. This makes your red blood cells get sticky and hold onto the oxygen instead of delivering it. So slow, calm, nasal breathing maintains the perfect CO2 balance to actually oxygenate your body and brain.
Okay, so that's the problem and that's the science. It might sound a little overwhelming, but here's the really good news. Because these are functional problems, the solutions are functional too. This isn't some irreversible condition. We can absolutely restore the body's natural blueprint for health.
This quote is from the late, great Dr. Christian Guilleminot, a true pioneer from Stanford, and it's a total game changer. What he's talking about is essentially physical therapy for the face and mouth muscles. He discovered that even after kids have surgery to remove their tonsils and adenoids, if you don't retrain their bad habits, the mouth breathing, the low tongue posture, the sleep-disordered breathing just comes right back.
And this chart just lays it out in black and white. The bars show a score called the AHI, which just measures how many times your breathing gets messed up while you sleep. The kids who only had surgery, with no therapy, their scores shot right back up. Their sleep apnea came back. But the group that did the work to retrain their muscles, they stayed healthy. It proves that surgery can open a door, but it doesn't teach you how to walk through it correctly.
So the road to recovery looks a lot like the road to healthy development in the first place. It's all about restoring function. Number 1, get them breathing through their nose 24/7. Number 2, retrain the muscles so the tongue knows its home is the roof of the mouth. And number 3, bring back real, whole foods that get the jaw a proper workout. And when we get this stuff right early on, we're doing so much more than just fixing a breathing problem or straightening some teeth. We are fundamentally changing a child's entire life trajectory from just getting by to truly thriving.
If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The shape of your child's face and how well they sleep at night isn't random. It's not just genetic luck of the draw. It is the direct result of how they function every single minute of every single day. And that means, as a parent, you have this incredible power to guide that development.
And the payoff is enormous. I mean, by intervening early, you can help your child grow a jaw that actually fits all of their teeth, maybe avoiding years of painful and expensive orthodontics. But even more important than that, you're setting them up with a wide open airway for life, which is one of the single best defenses against so many of the chronic diseases that we face as adults.
So, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Our current system is mostly about waiting for things to break and then trying to manage the symptoms, often for a lifetime. But what if we change our focus? What if we focused on building rock-solid health from day one? By paying attention to these simple but powerful functions, we can give our kids the foundation they deserve, not just to grow, but to absolutely flourish.